A top Celtic figure has been called a huge miss by a former player, and the evidence is starting to stack up that his departure cost the club more than anyone realised. We've also got a summer transfer target catching serious attention, a major manager update, and a Celtic story that is genuinely hard to believe when you hear the full details. Let's get into it. But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Charly Musonda has come out and said what a lot of people in and around Celtic have been thinking for a while. John Kennedy, the former assistant manager who left alongside Brendan Rodgers last October, has been a huge miss for the club. Mulgrew was speaking on the Open Goal podcast and was direct about it. He said, "This season has shown that there's a lot of things needing sorted. I personally think, from my experience and reading between the lines, I feel like John Kennedy's been a huge miss. You know that he was putting the work in. The amount of work he did is now being seen. It can't be relying on one man. It's a huge club. There's so much to be done." That is a significant statement from someone who knows Celtic well. Kennedy spent the vast majority of his career at the club, first as a player before a serious knee injury ended that path in 2009, and then as a coach who worked through multiple regimes, handling everything from youth development to assistant manager and even caretaker spells. When Rodgers left for Al-Qadsiya in Saudi Arabia, Kennedy went with him. At the time, it barely registered as a big story. Now, looking at the mess this season has become, the absence of that preparation and that attention to detail is being felt very clearly. Darren O'Dea has already revealed that Kennedy was not actually asked to stay. That alone raised serious questions about how the club handled the situation. And Dane Murray called his departure a big shock. Mulgrew is just the latest to confirm what the wider picture is slowly revealing. A key piece of the infrastructure walked out the door and nobody replaced what he did. Now for the main story, as a 20-year-old Norwegian midfielder is turning heads across Europe, and Football Insider are making the case that Celtic simply cannot afford to let this one pass them by. His name is Jens Hjertå Dahl, and he plays for Tromsø in the Norwegian top flight. He was already known to a number of European clubs before this season began, but his form has completely exploded in the early weeks of the 2026 campaign. In the very first game of the season, he scored a hat-trick in a 4-0 win over Fredrikstad. That is how he announced himself to a wider audience. Italian publication Il Resto del Carlino confirmed earlier this month that Celtic and Rangers are both among the clubs monitoring the midfielder. Football Insider have now gone further and made the case for why Celtic specifically need to move fast and make him their number one summer target. At 6'4" tall, Hjertå Dahl is a central midfielder who can also operate in a deeper role. He is 20 years old, won the Elite Syrian Young Player of the Month award 3 times last season, and his stats are genuinely impressive for someone his age. Last season, he averaged 1.51 successful dribbles, 4.57 touches in the opposition box, 2.19 tackles, and 4.04 recoveries per 90 minutes. For a midfielder, that is an incredibly well-rounded profile. He scores, he defends, he works. Tromsø are expected to demand up to £8.7 million for him. That is not cheap. But Football Insider make the point clearly. If Celtic do not move, Rangers might. And given Celtic's chronic lack of goal threat from midfield this season, a player who offers 8 goal contributions from the centre of the park and is already closing in on that tally just 2 games into the new season is exactly what the new manager would want to build around. In other news, former Celtic midfielder Joe Ledley has thrown his full backing behind Craig Bellamy for the Celtic manager's job this summer, and the level of detail in his endorsement is worth paying attention to. Bellamy is currently the Wales national team manager. His stint came to a painful end last week when Wales failed to qualify for the World Cup, losing to Bosnia and Herzegovina. That result has immediately opened up speculation about where he goes next. Ledley played alongside Bellamy for Wales and knows him well. Speaking to Record Sport, he said, "Craig Bellamy is a perfect fit for Celtic. They'll almost definitely be looking for a new manager in the summer. And in Craig, you've got someone who studies absolutely everything in detail. He likes to play on the front foot. It's all about possession and being attack-minded. But he also knows what it means for that club, having played there. He knows what the fans want and expect. He's young, he's hungry. I just think he's perfect for that job." Ledley went even further and spoke about the obsessive side of Bellamy as a manager. He said he once spent an hour and a half with him after Bellamy got the Wales job, just listening to him outline his plans, his structure, his vision for how the team would play. He left with his mind blown. The big question is whether Wales can keep him. Ledley thinks it will be difficult. He said clubs will come for Bellamy because of the job he has done, and he can see a move into club football happening very soon. In other news, journalist Mark Hendry has hit out at Celtic over their ongoing handling of fan media access, branding the situation a bad look and accusing the club of outright hypocrisy. It has now been almost 4 months since Celtic placed fan media access under review. In that time, established Celtic outlets have had no clarity, no communication, and no pathway back in. The silence from the club has been staggering given how much they publicly talk about their connection with supporters. This week, things got worse. Liverpool fan media outlet, the Anfield Wrap, were granted access to Lennox Town to interview Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. For those in the Celtic fan media community who have been locked out for months, the question is obvious. Why is an outside club's fan media being welcomed in while their own established outlets remain frozen out? Hendry wrote in his Celts Are Here Extra Time column and did not hold back. He said, "Banning fan media has always been a bad look for Celtic. Celtic have promised numerous times the improvement of communication, but they've been severely lacking in that department for a while. After the Ox interview being greenlit, I can't see any other outcome. Failure to do so, especially after another club's fan media were shown that respect, would reek of hypocrisy. There is no issue with the Anfield Wrap getting access. They are a respected outlet and good for the game. The issue is the double standard. Celtic are happy to welcome in Liverpool fan media while their own supporters' outlets wait in silence." Lastly, there is a brilliant and genuinely heartbreaking Celtic story doing the rounds today about a player who had the world at his feet and watched it slowly disappear. Charly Musonda is 29 years old now and has already retired from football. He joined Celtic on loan from Chelsea in January 2018 under Brendan Rodgers. He arrived with a lot of noise around him, a young Belgian talent being talked about as one of the best of his generation at Stamford Bridge. Barcelona had even shown interest in signing him. It never really got going at Celtic. Injury, a lack of rhythm, a lack of confidence. The spell produced one genuine moment supporters still remember. Against Zenit in the Europa League, just weeks after arriving, he came off the bench and played a key role in a winning goal that sent the stadium wild. The flash Celtic fans had been promised was right there in that moment. It just never followed through. Speaking to BBC Sport, Musonda opened up on how difficult it was trying to break through at Chelsea before his Celtic loan. He said, "I was probably one of the best, if not the best, of my generation there, and it was just so tough." He spoke about never catching a break, coming on in big moments only for teammates to get sent off or for games to fall apart around him. He also revealed that Barcelona had offered him a path through their B team with the promise of graduating to the first team. That's all the latest Celtic news for today. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. I'll see you in the next one. Hail, hail.